Before the riffs, before the stage dives, before AC/DC became one of the biggest rock bands in the world. There were songs that shaped the sound, songs that built the attitude, songs that stayed. Angus Young didn't just invent his style out of nowhere. He listened to guitarists who pushed harder, to bands that played louder, to songs that didn't hold back. And even decades later, some of those tracks never left. These are the songs from the 70s that Angus Young still listens to. The ones that helped define one of rock's most iconic guitar sounds. Number 10. The Green Manalishi with the Two-Prong Crown. Fleetwood Mac, 1970. The Green Manalishi doesn't sound like typical Fleetwood Mac. It sounds dangerous. Long before the polished, radio-friendly era, this version of the band was darker, heavier, and driven by raw guitar work. And that's exactly the kind of sound that would have caught Angus Young's attention. Because this isn't about melody first, it's about tone. The guitar feels sharp, uncomfortable, almost haunting. Peter Green's playing doesn't try to impress. It pulls you into something deeper. There's tension in every note, a kind of weight that builds slowly and never fully releases. And that's what makes it powerful, because it's not just heavy. It feels real. There's no gloss, no polish, just atmosphere and intensity. For a young guitarist like Angus, this kind of track would have stood out immediately, not because it was flashy, but because it proved how much emotion a guitar could carry on its own. And you can hear that influence later. In the way AC/DC keeps things simple, but hits hard. Because sometimes, the songs that shape a guitarist the most aren't the fastest. They're the ones that show just how much impact a single riff can have. Number 9. Into the Void. Black Sabbath, 1971. Into the Void doesn't ease you in, it drops you straight into the riff. From the very first moment, the guitar feels massive, thick, heavy, and completely unapologetic. Tony Iommi's tone isn't just distorted, it's crushing. And that's exactly the kind of sound that shaped an entire generation of guitarists, including Angus Young, because this isn't about speed or complexity, it's about power. The riff drives everything. It sets the mood. It carries the weight of the song from start to finish. And that's what made Black Sabbath so important. They didn't just play rock, they made it heavier, simpler in structure, but far more impactful in feel. Power chords, space, repetition, all used in a way that hits harder than anything overly technical. And you can hear that influence in AC/DC, the focus on riff over flash, the emphasis on groove over speed, the idea that one great riff is enough. Because Into the Void proves something important. You don't need complexity to sound massive. You just need the right notes, played the right way. Because sometimes the songs that shape legends aren't the most complicated. They're the ones that show how powerful simple can be. Number 8. Can't You See? The Marshall Tucker Band, 1973. Can't You See doesn't rush, it rolls. From the opening acoustic guitar, there's a sense of space, the kind of slow-building groove that doesn't try to impress immediately, but keeps pulling you deeper the longer it plays. And then the lead guitar comes in, bluesy, loose, full of feeling. This isn't tight, controlled rock. It's something more relaxed, more natural. A jam that feels like it's unfolding in real time rather than following a strict plan. And that's exactly what made Southern rock so powerful in the 70s. It wasn't about perfection. It was about feel. And that's something Angus Young has always respected. Because even in AC/DC's most straightforward songs, there's groove underneath the power. A sense of timing, of letting the riff breathe, of not overplaying when you don't need to. And Can't You See is built on that idea. The guitar doesn't fight for attention. It flows. It tells the story alongside the vocals. Because sometimes the songs that shape great guitarists aren't the loudest or the fastest. They're the ones that show how much emotion you can get from just letting the music move naturally. Number 7. Crosscut Saw, 1972 version. Albert King.
I'm a crosscut saw.
Crosscut Saw doesn't rely on volume, it relies on touch. From the very first note, Albert King's guitar feels alive. Every bend, every vibrato, every phrase, it's not just played, it's felt. The tone isn't overly distorted, it's clean but powerful in a completely different way. And that's where the influence begins. Because Angus Young didn't just learn from hard rock, he learned from the blues. And Albert King was one of the masters. The way he bends strings, wide, expressive, almost vocal, became a foundation for so many guitarists that came after. Not just technically, but emotionally. It's not about how many notes you play, it's about how much each one says. And you can hear that in Angus's solos. Short phrases, strong bends, every note placed with intention. That's not accidental, that's influence.
That really cuts good. I'm a crosscut.
Because before the loud riffs and the high-energy performances, there's a blues backbone underneath it all. A style built on feel, not flash. And Crosscut Saw is a perfect example of that. Because sometimes the songs that shape rock legends don't sound like rock at all. They're the ones that teach you how to make a guitar speak. Number 6, The Thrill Is Gone, B.B. King, 1970.
And you're gonna be sorry.
The Thrill Is Gone doesn't rely on speed. It bleeds emotion. From the very first note, there's space. The tempo is slow, almost restrained, but every sound feels intentional. B.B. King's guitar, Lucille, doesn't rush to fill the silence. It speaks. Each phrase feels like a sentence. Each bend feels like a feeling. Each pause says just as much as the note before it.
Oh, the thrill is gone.
And that's what made B.B. King so important. Not just to blues, but to players like Angus Young. Because this isn't about technical skill. It's about control, knowing when to play, knowing when to stop, and knowing how to make a single note carry weight.
Although I'm still living.
Angus has always admired that. You can hear it in his solos. Not constant shredding, but short bursts, focused lines, notes that hit hard because they mean something. And that comes from artists like B.B. King. Because before the loud amps, before the fast riffs, there was feeling. And The Thrill Is Gone is built entirely on that. Because sometimes the songs that shape great guitarists aren't the ones that show how much you can play. They're the ones that show how little you need to say everything. Number 5, Statesboro Blues, the Allman Brothers Band, 1971.
Wake up, mama. Turn your lamp down low.
Statesboro Blues doesn't wait. It hits you immediately. From the opening slide guitar, there's no build-up. Just tone, sharp, cutting, and full of attitude. Duane Allman's playing doesn't ease into the song, it defines it. That slide guitar isn't just a technique. It's a voice, raw, expressive, unmistakably blues. And that's exactly the kind of playing that shaped Angus Young. Because underneath all the hard rock energy, AC/DC is built on blues. The phrasing, the bends, the feel, it all comes from players like this. And Statesboro Blues is a masterclass in that foundation. The rhythm section keeps things moving, but it's the guitar that carries the soul. Every note feels slightly unpredictable, like it could go anywhere, but always lands exactly where it should. That balance between control and freedom, that's what makes it powerful. And that's what Angus took with him. Not just the sound, but the approach. Because sometimes, the songs that shape a guitarist's identity aren't the most technical. They're the ones that show how to take something simple and make it feel completely alive. Number 4. Brown Sugar, The Rolling Stones, 1971. Brown Sugar doesn't build slowly. It kicks the door open. From the very first riff, there's attitude. Loose, raw, and completely confident. Keith Richards' guitar doesn't try to be perfect. It swings. It breathes. It feels like it could fall apart at any second, but never does. And that's exactly the magic, because this isn't just about the riff. It's about swagger. The way the guitars interact, one holding it down, the other adding texture, it creates a groove that feels alive. Not mechanical, not overly polished, just real. And that's something Angus Young has always connected with. Because AC/DC isn't about complexity either. It's about feel timing and that unspoken communication between guitars. Just like a young girl should now. You can hear that Stone's influence in the way Angus and Malcolm played together. Tight, but never stiff. Controlled, but always with movement underneath. And Brown Sugar is a perfect example of that balance. Simple on paper, powerful in execution. Because sometimes the songs that shape rock legends aren't the ones with the most notes. They're the ones with the most attitude, played exactly the way they're meant to be. Number 3. Rock and Roll, Led Zeppelin, 1971. Rock and roll doesn't waste time. It explodes instantly. That opening drum fill hits, and suddenly you're in it. No slow intro, no build-up, just pure energy from the first second. And when the guitar kicks in, it's everything you expect from Jimmy Page. Sharp, driving, unstoppable. This is rock at its most direct, and that's exactly why it mattered to someone like Angus Young. Because Page didn't overcomplicate things here. The riff is rooted in classic rock and roll structure, but played with a heavier, more aggressive edge. It takes something familiar and makes it hit harder. And that's a blueprint Angus followed. Simple riffs, strong rhythm, maximum impact. You can hear the influence not just in the sound, but in the attitude. The way the song moves forward without hesitation, the way it feels alive, like it's pushing you with every beat. There's no overthinking, just momentum, because sometimes the songs that shape rock legends aren't trying to reinvent anything. They're the ones that take the roots of rock and roll and turn them into something louder, faster, and impossible to ignore. Number 2. Riff Raff, AC/DC, 1978. Riff Raff doesn't sound simple, so even if it feels like it should be, at first listen, it's just another hard-hitting AC/DC track. Fast, aggressive, driven by that signature Young Brothers guitar attack. But once you really pay attention, there's something else going on. The rhythm isn't straightforward. It shifts, it locks in, then pulls slightly away. And that's where the magic is. Because this song is built on interplay, Angus and Malcolm weaving their parts together in a way that feels tight, but never rigid. One guitar pushes forward, the other holds it down, and together, they create something that feels bigger than both. And Angus has always loved that. Not just the sound, but the challenge. Because Riff Raff isn't about flashy solos or big moments. It's about precision. Timing, control, knowing exactly where your part fits, and when it all clicks, it hits harder than anything complicated ever could. That's what makes it special, even to Angus himself. Because sometimes the songs that mean the most to a guitarist aren't the easiest to play. They're the ones that remind you why playing tight matters just as much as playing loud. Number 1. Highway to Hell, AC/DC, 1979. Highway to Hell doesn't just start, it arrives. That opening riff is instant, clean, powerful, and completely unmistakable. No build-up, no hesitation, just a sound that defines everything AC/DC stands for. And for Angus Young, this isn't just another song, it's a statement. Because behind the anthem, there's a story. Years of touring, long nights, endless miles, the grind of building something from nothing and refusing to stop. And that's what the song represents. Not rebellion for the sake of it, but survival. The rhythm is tight, the groove is unstoppable, and every part feels locked in with purpose. You can hear the chemistry between Angus and Malcolm, the way the guitars work together, simple on the surface, but perfectly placed. Nothing wasted, nothing overplayed, and that's what makes it timeless. Because Highway to Hell isn't just about sound, it's about identity, a band at full power, knowing exactly who they are. Because sometimes the songs that define a guitarist aren't just the ones they love, they're the ones that are them, from the very first note